Welcome back, boys. We got the week 2 recap coming at you. Another exciting week of football. I guess that really depends on which team you're a fan of. Nick, how you doing? Good to see you again. Welcome back to the program.
Doing great. A lot better from yesterday's hangover post-Packers game, but we're in better spirits today.
That's good to hear. Without further ado, then, let's get into it. And our very first game, we have a historic one, and therefore we brought in team owner of Pams, Lemp, to give us a breakdown and tell us about how his team set the new week high record for points in a week with 212.75, defeating Sticky Mistakes, who had the third most points in a week with 199.74. So, Lemp, give us a breakdown of how your team was able to do this, and welcome to the show.
First and foremost, thanks for having me, boys. I want to give a special thanks to you guys for always putting this on every week. You know, it's a good 20-minute break to the weekly schedule. So I'll just get into my team right away here. I'm pretty proud of my boys because, like, last year, obviously, we've been working towards championship. We were almost there last year, and it's fresh in our minds, and we're going to keep moving forward with the same goal in mind of winning that trophy so I can drink beer out of it in front of everybody like Adam does now. And that just also serves as motivation. As last week, I think that's what really actually got my team going. He came over into my little house here. I invited him over, and the first time over, he starts drinking beer. He had a cup in my face. I'm like, damn it, this fucker. So naturally, I gave my boys a pep talk, and they responded out in the field, and that's how we like to do our business. So first of all, Lamar Jackson, he's starting to show out. Last year, you know, he was very average, I would have to say, to give an honest review. But this year, he's looking to be his former self, and he's coming out way stronger. The Baltimore's offense seems to be pumping a little better, too. Huge 50-point week. That was definitely a big reason why we won. Moving down to our running backs, we got a slight question mark on those guys. Like, my running back core has not been as strong as in years past, which is a little concerning, but I was looking at all the running back scores in the leagues this past week, and overall, wide receivers seem to be outscoring RBs in fantasy NFL right now. So I'm not overly concerned about that. I'll give them time. Maybe coordinators or whatever just got to figure out all the schemes or whatever goes on out there in the football field. And the running backs, I know though, they got some talent. They'll come along. And so what I'm most proud of, obviously, is my wide receiver core. And I would like to give a big shout out to my scouts and offensive coordinator, David Lemp and Brendan Lemp. You know, the two people are the same people. They're both me. I think I've done a phenomenal job. So first we have Cooper Kupp, who I scouted last year because I was sitting at this breakfast table adjacent in Mexico. I was down in Cabo last year on vacation, and I overheard like this middle-aged man talking to another middle-aged white man about some football, and I was like, wait, I might have seen those guys on TV, or at least one of them, at least in Detroit. And sure enough, when I went to do some research come draft day, I picked up Cooper Kupp, remembering that conversation, and he's continued to show great performance. And then Waddle, he's just a stud, the Alabama product, 40 points, absolute bomb. I needed that to match Adam's Stephon Diggs. That really scared me on Monday night. And then our other wide receiver core that looks to be joining and getting a spot this year is Christian Kirk. And we are really proud because we have believed in this guy for a while. We drafted him last year. And 2 years ago, Nick actually dropped him, and then I picked him up a few weeks later. And I don't know, he put up a few good weeks for me because he was kind of the number 2 to D-Hop. And when D-Hop didn't perform, Kirk had a couple big games, and I saw his athletic ability out there, and I was like, oh, this guy just needs more of a shot, his own team spotlight. And now he has that with Trevor Lawrence throwing to him. So I think he'll be a good addition all season long. And then last but not least, my special teams, both of them I drafted kind of early. Maybe some people were giving me some question marks about that. I think Buffalo was a 5th round pick and Carlson was like my 6th or 7th round pick. But without either of them, I wouldn't have won this last week. I needed Carlson, those extra 10 points or so from Carlson. I needed every point from Buffalo, especially that interception at the end I think all those interceptions at the touchdown, a scoop and score or whatever I think it was. And so, yeah.
Turnovers, it was hard to keep track.
Yeah, there are a lot. So overall, very proud of my boys for this historic win, and I know will even be better. This isn't even the best performance my team can do because I have Dobbins, Kittle, and Williams all hurt right now, and they're all supposed to be stud to add some more depth, especially my tight end position. You know, that's a little bit. And then just thinking forward, moving forward as a franchise, everybody's pretty young on our team. That's what we look for to keep our roster young, and we also have some rookies, Dobbs and Pierce. I hear they're supposed to have some potential, especially that Dubs guy, or whatever. He ran the ball a few times in the Green Bay game. They gave him the ball a few times, and the announcers on there were gassing him. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. All right, over to you.
All right, I got a question here for you, Lemp. So last couple of seasons, it's been relatively good regular seasons. You know, you had the nice start 2 years ago. The Devontae Adams trade for kind of a bag of chips and a cloud of air really kind of derailed that season with a 38-point stinker at the end.
Thanks.
And then last year, you know, going on a nice run, getting to the championship game and kind of spending your entire week shit talking a team in the toilet bowl instead of getting your boys prepared and ready to go. So my question for you is, what do you have to say to some of the fans who, while these regular season accomplishments are great, when the lights shine the brightest and the stakes are the highest, think that you might just be a complete and utter dumbass?
Well, to respond to that one, most days I am a complete utter dumbass, but when it comes down to fantasy and specifically the playoffs this year, we're locking it in, we're buckling it in. At certain points in my life, you know, I know when I have to buckle it in, like when I go to my school, you know, I gotta focus for those 8-10 hours, whatever it is, and then I can go off to being a jackass. And that's kind of how I treated fantasy. I get home and then it's my jackass hours. And that's kind of how I treated my team. And yeah, I did get off the rails maybe just a little bit, but I won't regret anything I said. I'm not going to go back on it. Like Tyler deserved every bit of it. I'm just going to leave it at that. But going forward, what all my fans should expect, they should expect me to bring my calm and composed self as we approach the postseason, because I know without a doubt we will make it there again, and we will come with a cool, you know, collected just mindset into the game and just keep playing football, trusting each other, and thank God and Jesus every day for the opportunity to play in this great league.
Well, I can assure you your fans are very glad to hear the response that you just gave.
So my question for you, Lemp, is where do we owe the credit for your team's success early this season, and is that how you injured your back?
Actually, believe it or not, it's not how I injured my back. I need to take a page out of Dan Campbell's playbook and start practicing with my boys. That actually made me want to get injured. But what I credit the most success to is just everybody putting in a good off season. They put in a good training camp, and they came ready to play ball this year. Every single one of them. A lot of them had great expectations this upcoming year because either a great last year or not so great last year, and they're supposed to have a great last year. So every single starter on my roster, minus one or two that are injured right now, they are expected to do great things, and obviously they're performing to that level because they are professional athletes at the end of the day, and I expect them to do that, and we're very happy.
All right, Lemp. Well, thank you for joining us. Give us this breakdown of your team's historical performance, and we look forward to seeing how your team performs the rest of the way this year.
Thank you. I appreciate the time, and as always, I just gotta give a few shout outs. Just so everybody is clear, you know, my team gets a lot of crap. We're ninth in the power ranking, but if you look on the league history for the last 2 years in Sleeper, I am second with win percentage with 57% out of the whole regular season. And then also for points for, I'm also second in points. And Nick is the only one leading in points for above me, and Adam's leading in the win column. So although historically my franchise is not good over the last 3 years, we've been trying to, you know, get into fantasy a little bit more, take it more serious. And I think it's really showing. And sooner than later, we're about to win a championship any year here. I know it. And another reason we're going to win the championship is because I was just thinking about it, looking at my matchup just last week. The divisions got realigned. Now you got two of the best competitors in the same division, making the playoff spot a little easier for someone who shouldn't be in there. So whoever gets a fourth spot out of the division that's not mine and Adams, they're just going to get bounced first round. You guys can bookmark that one. And then also there's a couple other teams that aren't too good because they don't know even what the future of their franchise is looking like. Like I heard one franchise just is offering they want a like hot dog water or something for their QB. And then there's also someone else in our league who I think's won before. I can't quite remember, but I also heard he also got a lot of help because he had a fantasy guru at work with him, and he was just getting fed. And I think that team's pretty dead last this year. So moving forward, we're just happy with the direction our team's going. We know we've been improving every year, like third year, like the facts don't lie. My team over the last 3 years has been looking pretty solid, and we're just gonna continue it. I don't know, go team.
Thanks for your time here, Lemp. Appreciate you.
All right, thank you, boys.
All right.
Good luck.
Thank
for the
you.
rest of the
Lemp.
season. And Nick for week 12.
Oh yeah, we're coming, buddy. Don't you worry.
All right. So on the flip side of every epic contest, there is the team that falls short, and that would be Sticky Mistakes this week. Getting the Lions award that the league has long felt that they deserved, especially after last season where they just seemed to run into every Lemp award and injury on the opposing team that you could think of on their way to the 11-2 season in the championship. So this was definitely good for everyone to see. However, they did not go down without a fight. Lemp was projected to score 200 points since about 4 o'clock Sunday, so it was easy for them to fold, but they looked that tough matchup in the face and said, let's get it on. First off, the Bucs defense came to play. They got 38 points against the Saints, really set them up nice. However, Prater and Pitt's decisions would set this team back and find them immediately placed on the trade block. So we'll see if they're moved anytime soon. Aaron Jones had a big day on Sunday Night Football. Nick, I'm sure you enjoyed watching that in person. And then decent days by CEH and Najee Harris here would set him up, but he was still down quite big with 3 players left to go on the Monday night doubleheader. First player up on the night, we had Stephon Diggs coming in hot, 3 touchdowns, 41 points. Things looking like we might have a shot. Jalen Hurts would follow it up with 40 points of his own. It's really looking like we might come back. Adams looking like he's going to score over 200. But unfortunately, Justin Jefferson shut down a little bit by Slay, only gets 10. Adam would fall short in historic fashion. This is definitely the most epic matchup we have ever seen in league history. This reminds me a lot of Rams-Chiefs Monday Night Football. Just absolutely epic, Nick. I'm sure you want to throw your 2 cents in on this, although we did hear like Lemp's 10 cents before that.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna take a backseat on this one. We heard a lot from Lemp there.
All right, fair enough, but still crazy nonetheless.
Incredible matchup.
Second matchup of the day, we had Faze Kev looking like they're turning things around after a rough back-to-back 2 years, coming off to a hot 2-0 start, 135-103 victory over Wallace Pluto. Nick, tell us how Faze Kev was able to get it done.
Yeah, so it all starts on Faze Kev with their team captain here, Josh Allen, just looking absolutely as good as advertised. Incredible on Monday Night Football. Was able to put up, 317 yards, 4 touchdowns, about damn near 35 points in only 3 quarters. Like, that's extremely impressive. Josh Allen has been incredible to start the season, leading Faze Kev here. Austin Eckler getting 9 receptions and getting more involved in the receiving game this week on Thursday Night Football was a huge help for Faze Kev here as they're trying to get the running back room, a little bit more figured out here. One of the big performers of the week and of the season so far has been the Sun God himself out in Detroit, Amon-Ra St. Brown, looking absolutely incredible. One of the steals of the draft this year up to this point, a 40-point performance as he has just picked up right where he left off at the end of last season. And you do see some lower scores down at the end here, like Albert O putting up a goose egg. Will Lutz, only 4 points. The Dolphins defense didn't do particularly well against the Baltimore Ravens. But at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter here as Kev's team was able to do enough to squeak out this victory. And those are just some things that they'll be rounding out over these next couple of weeks. But team looks very good so far, turning things around from their toilet bowl appearance last year.
Very well said. On the flip side here, Wallace Pluto falls to 1-1, continuing the narrative amongst their fans that they're just forever destined for the consolation series. One positive here, Mark Andrews looking to be a good keeper. He had 24, including a Todd, so nice day, but pretty much negatives everywhere else. No one else had over 11. They only had 4 total touchdowns in their whole lineup, including one from their defense, which is just not something you want to be relied on. So it looks like more of the same from Wallace Pluto. We'll see if they're able to change things around going forward, but I'm sure their fans know what to expect by it. All right, third game up. Texas size 10 fours. We come in, we take home the swiper award over Glizz Mafia, 124 to 104. Carr came in, he had a solid day, even though the Raiders weren't able to get it done. 23 points from him, nice. It was pretty nice to see. McCaffrey still hasn't quite gotten it going yet the way we want to see it, but 19's not bad for him. The rest of our lineup wasn't great. We still want to see some better performances. We got to figure out our depth quick. Otherwise, we're kind of looking like we're stuck in mediocrity with 1 Lions and 1 Swiper award at this point. I do want to shout out the Ryan Suckup and our defense, the Denver Broncos. They did have good days, and we were able to get it done. Not very sexy, but after the Lions award last week, we'll take any win we can get.
Yeah, for Glizz Mafia here, there's a little bit of concern now coming out of the front office here, as Lemp kind of touched on it a little bit during his outro. It's been noted that franchise quarterback Chef Russell Wilson is available for a whopping asking price of half a cup of hot dog water. We'll see if they'll be able to flip him for maybe anything a little bit more enticing than that. But that's just not a vote of confidence you want to hear coming from the front office with your franchise quarterback. DeAndre Swift had a pretty solid game, as he's been continuing to, as the Lions themselves have been very electric to start the season. But kind of going down the rest of the board here, like Josh Jacobs, a decent performance, not the greatest. A.J. Brown, not terrible, but not great. CeeDee Lamb with kind of a nice bounce back game from, I think it was like a 2-point performance week 1, having Cooper Rush under center now. So maybe that's something that they can build on. Dalton Schultz ended up getting hurt in the game right after he fumbled, which 1 isn't good for your fantasy production. And 2, we just, again, hope that he's going to be able to get healthy and get back on the field. Cowboys are already kind of dealing with a lot of injuries at this point. Don't want to be down their tight end too. But T. Higgins played nice, but kind of overall, the team did a little bit, like it was okay, but nothing incredible. Only scoring, I think it was 104 points. Isn't really ever going to get you a win in this league. So definitely some things that they need to figure out this week, starting with their franchise quarterback. But this team needs some improvement here as they start out 0-2 during this season.
All right, moving on to our 4th game of the week. Cleveland Steamers came in to FrancyFeast, taking home another impressive victory, moved 2-0, 146 to 118. Nick, tell us how your boys got it done.
One man, baby. There was the what was it last week when you asked about what were the keys to victory in this game? What did we say? We said Nicholas Chubb touchdowns. All right, 3 of them things. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's a full Chubb if I've ever seen one. 32.3 points from the man himself really was our driving force this week. And we would not be where we were without that man leading us. Patrick Mahomes kind of having a statistical down game. I thought he still played a pretty solid game overall, but in terms of statistical production, kind of down from his incredible week 1 5 touchdown performance. But Nick Chubb being able to kind of help us out in that aspect was exactly what we're looking for out of this team. The receivers both did, I thought, relatively well, scoring the exact same 13.2 points this week. Kind of doing as much as they could with kind of their quarterback situations. We know that they're extremely talented, but we're just going to need to have, a little bit more, just moxie from the quarterbacks that are throwing him the ball, I would say. Dawson Knox getting some looks this week. Thank you, Kevin, for talking to your guy. Lenny didn't have the greatest game this week, as the Bucks Saints game was just an absolute slugfest defensively, not many offensive points. And then the special teams, which was a big letdown of us for the past couple seasons, coming through. So again, we didn't have the same week that we did last week with our top performers, but just showcasing that we have a multitude of ways that we can go about and score points on this team. So that was great to see.
Very well put. On the flip side here, FrancyFeast off to an 0-2 start after falling in the lake last year. Obviously not what their franchise and their fans want to see. Kyler did have a good day with 30 to will the Cardinals back in that game against Vegas. Mike Evans got suspended. I got to shout that out because he's protecting his quarterback. As a goalie myself, I always love to see that. Kind of similar in that way. So great to see that. Suspension definitely well worth it. Waller had a touchdown. Met Specialists had a good day here, but nothing that great other than that. And yeah, they're gonna have to step it up. Maybe utilize the waiver wire and cut their crappy players, or change something up there if they want to see some wins. Because whatever's going on there, just clearly hasn't been working. All right, and then fifth and final game. We'll try to be quick before Zoom kicks us because Lemp talked for half a goddamn hour. Blake comes back to beat Cooper 140-134. Blake had called GGs in this one, but still found a way to win, mostly off the legs of David Montgomery. Never even got a touchdown, just kept putting together nice 15, 20-yard runs, and they just kept adding up. Herbert started the week off for them very well, though, putting up 29 on Monday Night Football, really set the tone for this locker room. And the rest of the lineup kind of nailed, and it just kind of worked out for them. I said this team needed to bounce back to show their franchise and their fans that they had turned a new leaf, and that is what they did. So that was great to see. Nick, give us a quick rundown of Cooper's team before we get kicked out of here.
Yeah, the running back room kind of let them down this week. Only scoring single digits. That's never something that you want to see. Tyreek Hill tried his damn hardest to lift this team up from the ground with his 42-point performance, and it just quite wasn't enough to squeak past the Cheekles this week. And also a nice pickup here for Coop, waiver wire, Curtis Samuel plugged into the lineup, 21.4 points, as he's looking like could be a nice steal in fantasy this year. But again, just not quite enough scoring from Coop to get over the hump this week. Hoping that he can make some slight adjustments. More specifically with that running back room. Hopefully Kamara comes back healthy and they're able to put a better foot forward coming out of this week.
All right, that's it for this week. This is the week 3 schedule. You can all pause and read. We're really running low on time here. Lemp, thanks for taking the spotlight. Adios, everyone.